So today I want to talk about going after what you want. More so though, doing it because simply you want to. That's actually the key part. Too many of us, we are so self-cautious that we kind of look all around us and we forget to be like, well, I'm the center here. Now, please, I'm not trying to refer to any egotistical points, because there is a healthy boundary within, being very too self-centered. There is definitely that. With addressing that, covering that, let's move on. Too many of us don't do anything based off, oh, what are they going to think? Now, usually most people they're worried about what their best friends think, what their siblings think, what their parents think, grandparents, your inner circle of who you associate with. This terrifies people, but we can't allow this to be the case. I mean, you can get so terrified that you don't do nothing. You don't say nothing. You just sit there and do, well, nothing. But this becomes a problem. It becomes such a problem when none of your goals are being accomplished. None of anything that you want to precisely do is ever getting done. I can almost promise you, you might not admit it, but I can almost promise you this. Every single one of you, deep down, want to do stuff, but then once it comes to time to do it, you're scared. Social anxiety, for example. I have a huge personality. I'm a very strong personality, first off, but a very huge personality. I have a lot of just energy. But if you talk to people who see me, they might think complete differently. They might be like, what? You don't say much when I'm with you. What's going on? What's going on is kind of what's happening in this video. Well, the reason I'm making the video, you get afraid. You start second guessing yourself. You start overthinking, overanalyzing, and before you know it, you don't do anything because, well, you are so caught up in just right up in here in your mind. You don't express it. Or you have this happen. You start doing stuff, but then you get scared, you start feeling it, your heart races, and you start thinking negative about it. That's the key part you have to remember. You start thinking actually negative, you start viewing yourself negative, you start viewing the situation negative, and before you know it, you're having a self-fulfilling prophecy happen. That's a whole other topic, but I'll mention this for that. Anything you think about, believe in, is going to happen. Period. You're going to at least start having the progression happen. Things that take great effort, that are huge and mighty, have a lot of layers of steps done to make it that way. So anything you're thinking about and believing in as you're thinking it is slowly making it happen, making it slowly come into reality. It might take 5 years for it to actually be reality, but you're progressing onward. So self-fulfilling prophecies is just that. Whatever you believe is going to happen and be more in your frontal mind. So as you perceive the world around you, it's there. The reality of the matter is, you own you own every action you do. You have to have this accountability towards yourself. It's awesome to have people in your life where you can trust so much that you can have them say, hey, can you hold me reliable or accountable for this? And then that's where the word reliable comes in. You hope they are reliable and they will push that. For example, you're on a strict diet, but you know you have trouble. You don't want to get someone in your life to say, hey, can you help me stay on this course? I don't have the discipline. I'm admitting this, I'm aware of this, help me. Now, with this all being done and said, you got to start realizing you get to create everything. Every single interaction you have 100% control of. If you don't know how to gain control of it, we can help and train. But you always ultimately have this control. Every action you have, you own. If you had like a time capsule, and you could view your whole entire self that had dialogue saying, who made this choice, who did this, who was responsible, it all comes back to you. You are. You get to help shape this. Why do I keep going on and on about this? Is because it comes down to this. Yes, you should be considerate of those around you. You shouldn't be the guy who is hurting someone or making someone feel bad. But you can't also let their fears be your fears. Let me express why. A lot of people in life, their parents are so on their case. You gotta do this, 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 this. By all means, that is nice and it's good and it's supportive and it has its place, but there comes a time in everyone's life where you gotta wean off this and become your own choice maker, your own maker of your life. And please don't confuse God and that maker. I'm just referring to, you have a lot of responsibility within your own actions. A lot of us, again, we're so afraid of what others are going to think about us, how people are going to see us. Once you can never be afraid of that, or rarely be afraid of that, you just gain the power that is beautiful. You gain something in your life that has such influence to wherever you go. It's just powerful. I mean, you ever been in a room and someone has such confidence, such energy, such life to them that everyone listens, everyone just all eyes on them almost. But they do it in a way that does have the love, that does have, I do care for you. They're not self-centered, egotistical. They understand everyone matters, but they also understand their own energy, their own thoughts, their own voice. All of this contributes to that. Their own actions make this happen. When it comes to establishing yourself, introducing yourself to society and doing things on that side, you got to keep this in mind. Too often we're having the reactive approach. Oh God, what are they thinking about me? Oh, they said that? I should say this. And you're becoming reactive. By all means, proactive and reactive behaviors go hand in hand, but the proactive person understands the reactive part helps things go. Example, you're in a conversation and someone is saying something and you have that dialogue going back and forth. You have the reactive approach, Eventually though, you're gonna have a proactive moment come in. Hey, let's go here, let's go somewhere, you have the choice that you make. Well, no, I don't want to go, I gotta do this. And you say it in a nice way, of course, but you have to make that proactive choice. Too often, a lot of people in group situations, someone's smoking, someone's drinking, someone's doing something that is against what you believe in or whatever. People just cave in. Influence takes over. They completely have no will of their own because they don't want to have the counteraction of, oh, why aren't you doing that? Why do you do that? They don't want to have that conflict. But the sooner you can basically take ownership of all of your actions, all of who you are, you're actually becoming mature. Too much of us have entered into the mindset of, well, everything's acceptable, or I can't offend them, because people are way too reactive, they're way too emotional. And by all means, I respect your feelings, but I also respect your opinions, your thoughts, and I respect mine also. That needs to be your mentality. And you have to have this EQ situation go on. And what I mean by EQ, it's just common sense. Again, if someone's actually truly egotistical all the way, they don't actually think about the person next to them because they are just thinking about themselves. But if you have EQ, you're actually thinking of the person next to you, you're thinking about the whole situation you're into, this is self-awareness happening. You're thinking of a lot of stuff, but you're also able to think independently and freely on your own. And now when it comes to, like relationships and like group efforts, you have a more fragile thing taking place. By all means, you have to be more respectful to what you say, because you're not the dictator, you're not just that, but you are your own dictator to your own life. You are always still in charge of your own choices, what you say, what you do. There are always counteractions regardless. Some people, I run across this quite a lot, I find it very disrespectful. I send them a message, I say something, in public, but they don't even respond. Especially in a public situation, I find this super disrespectful. I mean, you do have a million things that could be going on. They didn't hear you. They're so busy doing what they are doing. But regardless, the respectful thing and responsible thing to do is acknowledge. Oh, hey, what's up? Or, hey, I'm super busy right now. I would love to talk to you, but I can't right now. A lot of us, we don't respond and we think, well, we're not hurting no one, we're not doing nothing. but you are. That's a response in itself. You know, a lot of us, by us saying nothing in a situation, is actually responding and telling the person who said whatever a huge message. They walk away and now their imagination gets to carry on. And if they're mature, if they know a lot of psychology or just human interactions and really have a compassionate heart, they're going to realize, oh, you know, they're going to think more proactively on that aspect of thinking positive. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes, you know, you hear stories like this all the time. People that are in relationships, oh, they didn't text me for 5 minutes. Oh God, do they even love me anymore? You know, you have this kind of stuff happen. That's insecurities by all means, which I guess this is part of this conversation we're having now. But again, you gotta start owning your own voice, your own words, your own actions. And stop blaming others, stop blaming anyone, because you have the power to do everything. If you don't like your job, you can go get another one. If you don't like the path you're in right now in life, you can actually change it. Take the heat, take the responsibility that might come down on you, because you're going to always have haters. This is something you got to be very aware of. No one's ever going to love you. And what I mean by that is not every single one. That's the key part you have to remember. You're gonna have those who love you, those who like you, respect you, and those who just are like, get out of my view, man. Can't tolerate you. You know, you have this. Accept it, don't hate it. Be the proactive person to push on regardless. You know, for me, my motto in so many aspects is, you know, help basically make a difference in the world, make people see things differently, think differently, become independent, become, you know, your own self, but at the same time as you're developing and growing in your own life, contribute and connect with others and, you know, push this on. Again, though, we're afraid. We're too afraid. And if you run after your fears, you're growing in so many ways. But you gotta remember, back to what I was saying though, if you think negative towards any aspect of any situation, any thought, any moment, you're going to have fear overpower you. You're going to have some kind of anxiety creep in eventually. Depression can creep in. If you think any direction of a negative thought, you're going to have bad results. You're going to have something that haunts you, that eats at you, that doesn't allow you to actually grow in a healthy way. But the second you start turning your mind and your perception and the way you view things and think about things in a positive light, you have growth happening so wide in your mind and your life and anyone you're encountering that it's going to really be noticed. You know, maybe not in the first day, not the first week, first month, but take 3 months from now if you would start thinking very positive in every single situation. Listening to understand, listening to really come up with your own thought process of your own that is different than what you just heard someone. You know, disagreeing sometimes is really awesome. We call this actually, you know, discussions. It doesn't have to be argument. If we're coming to discuss something, disagree with something, but we're coming to understand one another, this isn't an argument. This is actually a discussion. It might have its moments of its getting tension here, but if you come back to the point of, well, we're here to understand one another, it's a discussion. And I think this needs to be applied to this conversation I'm having with you guys right now. Everything I'm saying, I might have pushed some buttons on you that you're like, ooh, I should react, I should hate, I should exit the video, I should do something like that. That's a reactive approach. Become the proactive person and just listen. And maybe you disagree with 80%, but 20% is acceptable, or vice versa. There's always something good to be heard if you're coming to listen to understand. Including this, do everything you do because you want to. Don't do anything because someone else wants you to do it. And let me, I guess, elaborate just on that. If you love someone, you start doing stuff because you want to. This is love. If you are selfishly loving someone, lustfully loving something, you might not want to do it because egotistical mindset's actually there. You know, self-oriented, self-interest is there. But if you actually truly love someone, you're going to do it because you love them. You know, so you're doing it because you want to do it. If you do everything because you want to do it, you have a power behind you again that is phenomenal, because so many of us were lying to ourselves. We're posting this video, we're posting and liking this or sharing this and that because, again, you want to. But then at the same time, sometimes it's the other way around. You don't want to. You're doing it for someone to notice me, to notice what I did, to get some self-glory sometimes. And again, that's where I guess I'm touching base on this, because I'm referring to doing stuff because you want to, but in a selfless way, in a way that doesn't harm no one. But a lot of the part I'm just referring to now, if you do it in that way, that is actually more it's selfish, it's self-interest, and someone will get hurt, someone will not grow in a healthy way, yourself, big time, but those who are being influenced by you. I hope none of this is confusing, but if you do stuff because you want to, you have good intentions, and you're going to do it because you see the higher goal, the higher reason for any of it, you're going to have a power behind you that leaves you almost unstoppable. Too many of us, we don't do much of anything because of our insecurities, our fears. We think negative about things instead of just understanding realities, understanding concepts, accepting people's different views. We just hide in boxes after a while. And it's sad. But I hope if you walk away from anything in this video, you choose to do everything because you want to, but within doing all of that, you have good intentions behind why you're doing it. Again, you do things and always grow. And again, you're going to have your haters. You're going to have people that could care less about anything you do. But you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself. And if you have good intentions, those who want what you're offering, want what you're trying to do, are going to fling to you. You can't please the whole entire world. I'm sorry. If you do, you're going to have no morals. If you do, you're going to have no standards. If you want to please everyone, you might as well just be a robot that accepts everything. But even robots eventually will piss you off, eventually, just in the aspect they do run off they run off structure, they run off codes, morals that are programmed into them. But too many of us, I don't think we carry too much of that. If you have any suggestions for this video, if you have any suggestions for a future video, if you have any comments, if you like this video, please share. The whole goal of everything I do is to expand people's perspectives, to expand your understanding of the realities around you. And it takes everyone to do that. It takes everyone who sees and thinks differently to want to be a part of that. And I am hopefully giving a call out to y'all to become the proactive people you are and start making a difference in your own ways. Find your passions, find your talents, and push them on. And as you push them on and out, don't think about the person next to you. Don't think about anyone but yourself in this aspect, in the aspect of, are your intentions good? Is your goal understood? And once this is all understood, don't worry about the haters, those who don't understand you, because they're always going to be out there. And if you flock to that negativity, you will never grow. You'll never do really anything in life, just because you're going to be hurt and hurt and hurt, and you're going to allow that to really actually bring you down to the point you will be depressed. And it doesn't have to be that way. Choose and hold on to those who love you, and those who don't, accept that and just move on. Hey, thank you.